Okay, so I am an expert in innovation and networking, and quite often people do not make a connection that networking and innovation have much in common. But actually, when you think about networking, you will look at it that it's not only going out to conferences, meeting people and giving business cards, but it is really about the access to power and the power networks. And what Pedro was saying about the networks of patients are really the networks of support where you're becoming empowered by the pure fact that you're among people like you, where you share emotions, where you share practices, where you feel you fulfill this sense of belonging. And this gives you power. Now, when you think about innovation, you can think about the new products, services, the usual way we think about innovation. But the way I think about innovation is it's a process of learning. And because now the life cycle of many products had gone down to zero, the innovation is so fast that anything you put out on the market is outdated. It's really the speed of us being exposed to different environments where we can learn to be able to innovate. So the networking and innovation, it's actually the cornerstone of the Silicon Valley. But what you see on the picture is a traditional view from a conference, a panel I was moderating, but this world is gone. And this world will not come back for at least a year or 2 years, if not more. And the world that will of the networking and innovation, because after all, when we go to trade shows, when we go to meet patients, when we go to meet doctors, researchers, we want to learn something. We want to build those connections. So now it's really not about strategic networking, but it's really about e-networking. And I will be explaining to you today very briefly what is this network thinking that Belen mentioned. I will give you a little bit of homework. I believe it's good to have something to do. And then I will share my tips for strategic networking. So let me start with this very famous interview with Steve Wozniak, who was the co-founder of Apple, when he was quoted in an interview from 2007 saying, and I was at this party and a friend said, you should meet Steve because he likes electronics and he makes jokes. And this is how Apple was born. So really the Silicon Valley culture is all about being open to try new things, being open to embracing technology, but also being open to making those connections. But those connections is not really about doing more of the same in the closed zone where we are. No, it's really saying opening the doors, opening the networks, because this empowers that person, and this can lead to a transaction that absolutely, ultimately, Apple is a trillion dollars opportunity born out of someone saying, hey, you should meet a friend, okay? Now, when we speak about Silicon Valley, we know well that innovation that Silicon Valley cannot be duplicated. There have been many attempts from Russia to Spain, to Cambridge, you name it. It is not possible to copy Silicon Valley. And I've been investigating the question where innovation comes from for over 15 years. And this little picture shows really my whole explanation. So what do we see here? Well, it's a beautiful picture drawn by an artist during the Smart City Expo World Congress 2 years ago. And basically on this part of the screen on the left, you see A, B, C, D. And this is important because these are the 4 things you need for innovation. You need research, you need industry, you need entrepreneurs, and then you need education. You need universities, you need places you learn. And the problem is that all these usually function in silos. So they function in silos because they are not networked. And then we come here to this another maybe deeper level of understanding that networking is absolutely the core structure, giving its core dynamics of our society. And I had an honor to work for many years with Professor Manuel Castells. You know the name because he's currently the Minister for Universities. Professor Castells, in the preface to my book, wrote that it will change the way people think. And this encouraged me to coin this concept and then see that other people are also using it in different sciences, from ICT to biotech, everywhere where networks are critical for accelerating change. So innovation and networking, we are all connected. We could be all connected, but we're actually not. We're working in silos within one organization, within a university, within a hospital, within an ecosystem, such as the public health ecosystem. And all I'm trying to do now through my research with my team at Tata Innovation is really help people understand, create this mindset shift, and understand that by connecting, they can grow, they can innovate together. Now, you know, my computer refused to talk to me, so I need to stop sharing my screen. No way. Okay, I'm admitting Susanna. Good that I was kicked out of the presentation. Hello, Susanna. Okay, I'm coming back to share my screen. Just a second.
Sorry.
No, not a problem, absolutely. We were just saying that building the social networks for innovation is important, so you're right on time. Okay, let me see if it will work. It will work. So, you know, Professor Castells coined this term network society, and he actually is one of since the last 20 years, he's #1 most quoted communication scholar in the world. Based on the early data of understanding how digital transforms the way people relate to each other, he gave a whole way of thinking. And what I took from his data and his research is that basically these principles apply to innovation. And when we speak about apply to innovation, you know, innovation is done by people, of course, enabled by technology, but it's not technology driving innovation. It's always people driving innovation. And last year we were part of an acceleration program with Johnson & Johnson as a startup, and we developed this concept of how to put a simple framework to help people connect networking and innovation. And it basically boils down to 7 skills. You need to have a network strategy. You need to have the networking skills. You need to know how to engage virtually. You need to know how to empower others to build networks. You must know digital communication and how to leverage digital with face-to-face. You need to understand diversity and why it's so difficult to collaborate in diverse groups. And ultimately, you need to be influential. You need to be an influencer. Power and influence in today's society has a very different structure, and every single leader, every single manager should not underestimate the power of having a digital brand. So all these 7 skills we call network thinking skills. And then you see that certain areas are blank than others. This is the skill gaps people have. We have a research, we have a very nice data set to understand what are the gaps and how this fits into different demographics. It's not time to talk about this, but let me just draw your attention to this circle, and you will see strategist, networker, orchestrator, and influencer. And these are the 4 types that every team, every high performance team that operates not only efficiently, not only is efficient in using digital tools, but it's able to innovate. These are the 4 types, 4 personality types, if you wish, of a networker, network thinker, and as we call this person in a balanced team. Now, you can think that networking and innovation, if I still has not convinced you that it is useful, let me just say that the way we look at this is in 6 different areas. First, you need to innovate and network to solve problems. If you agree, put thumbs up. If you disagree, put thumbs down. Pedro, thumbs up or down? You need networking and innovation for problem solving? Okay. How about sharing? Sharing skills, sharing technology, sharing space. Is it good for, do you need networking and innovation to share? Look, sharing is a principal part of today's economy. You know, Uber, Airbnb, you know, but also Amazon, also all sorts of portals. Thanks, Pedro, for the thumbs up. So sharing is one of the lowest ranked skills. People do not know how to share. They do not know how to use networking to share. Then building partnerships. This is all about selling, about partnering, about integrating. Then access to opportunities, such as knowledge, the insights, the people, and the funding. Then building a digital identity. Who am I online? In the global, in the local, in the glocal, and ultimately about learning. How do I monitor my business market change, and how do I get insights? So this is a beautiful memoir that I wanted to share with you of some people you surely know and you surely recognize. This was in our office in October. We had a network thinking workshop, and I only regret that this cannot be repeated anytime soon. Now, people often ask me, is it better to have a big network, or is it better to have a quality network, a high quality network? And I was trying to answer this question to a team that I was coaching recently. And I said, look, together as a team, you have 42,000 connections on LinkedIn and 17,000 followers on Twitter. Do you think that as a team, you need a bigger network? And said, no. And then we looked that actually, when you identify influencers in their fields, they were connected to all these people, to all the right people they wanted to know. So we decided that actually, and maybe this is also your case, you don't need to go, crazy around and build bigger networks or trying to connect to people who don't want to connect with you. Maybe you just need to step back and reflect on the people you already are connected, who already are part of your ecosystem, and think how to make a different way. So you surely know that Twitter and LinkedIn are two professional platforms that you should dedicate a little bit of time, especially now when this physical networking will not be possible, and use these platforms not to get depressed that people are so active, or to get upset that things are going on and you feel alienated. I loved really what Pedro said about giving voice to people. And I would encourage you to think about your networking activity online in those digital ecosystems, that by sharing, by commenting, by liking, you give voice to someone. You give them the microphone that normally is being held by someone who moderates a conference or moderates a panel. Now, you surely have heard of the Pareto Rule, have you? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Yes, okay. Okay, I just need to know if I'm connected with you. Okay, so you know that it says that 80% of impact will come from 20% of your efforts. So it's really, if you have 1,000 connections on, let's just, we could talk about different networks and different ecosystems, but for sake, let's just think that network at LinkedIn, you have 1,000 people. So you cannot connect of all of them, but only 20%, so 200 will really help you create the value that you want to do, and invest this time that we spend online to do something meaningful, not to do more of the same, but really to make impact. Now, the question is, who is the right person? And this is really what we're trying to answer with our network IQ concept. And this is the test that you can take on our website. It checks network intelligence. So basically, it is prepared. Professor Castells is our scientific advisor, so there's a real scientific merit to it. I encourage you that you take it. You will get immediately insights into your score, but also on the 7 skills. How strong are you versus other population? Some of you will be surprised that you're very strong. Others will think, this is a skill gap, I need to work on it. But really having the concept of being intelligent when networking comes down to your ambition. And another core concept in our methodology is a purpose network fit. So you can go crazy trying to build networks, but if you have a purpose, then it's it's easier to build a network fit for a purpose. So this is just a little quote found on internet that I love. Phil Knight was a co-founder of Nike, and who was basically a shoe operation selling shoes, but Nike was never a shoe company. It was a company that enabled champions. And Tesla, well, is a car company, but actually it's a company for futurists. And Apple sells computers, but it's a company for creators. So you can put your name, whatever you are, you can think what you sell, and then Pedro, if you're still with the Oxford University, you can put, but this is a university for whom exactly? For what kind of researchers and what kind of students? So I love teaching networking. I love teaching network thinking and innovation. I always share little stories, for example, if I do with strangers at night, but I guess that this is not the right moment now. So let me just invite you to our website for more and share this final photo as the ultimate memory that I hope to meet you in presence sooner rather than later. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias a todos. La verdad es que es curioso, ¿verdad? Como en un entorno de pacientes, un entorno empresarial, en cualquier entorno, al final, como bien decías, es una cuestión de crear redes de apoyo. Somos personas evidentemente sociales y me parece súper interesante el tema de las habilidades. El tema de las habilidades porque nos empeñamos como si fuese algo que no requiriese nada especial y realmente conocerlo y conocer aquellas áreas de mejora yo creo que pueden ser, bueno, pues una pieza más para seguir adelante y mejorar esto que no tengo la menor duda que nos va a ayudar un montón.